I'll be sanding down the Drexel buffet table with an 80 grade sanding sponge. You don't have to use a sponge, you can also use the paper, but I decided to use the sponge just because it's easier, I feel, and it's soft on your hands as well. So there were some parts in the table that had a few dents and some missing wood, so I used some wood filler to fill those gaps in. So when you're sanding down, make sure you retouch that surface and with your fingers and see that it's nice and smooth. So this is what the buffet table looks like after it has been sanded down. It did take a lot of sanding, a lot of work because the paint was chipping a lot, but we got it done. So finally, we get to the fun part, the painting. I will be using the PPG metallic paint. Look how beautiful this color is. Yeah, it's bright, but once I have done a few layers, I believe it'll be a little bit darker. So I'm going to soak my brush very well. So after painting with the brush on top, I noticed that I wasn't getting enough paint, and I needed to get enough paint on the table because, as you noticed, this table had a lot of paint chips, a lot of dents and scuffs, and I just want to really cover the table with paint. So right after, I decided to use the brush again because I really like the finish that the brush leaves on the paint, and that was the technique that I wanted, or the style that I wanted on this buffet table. So after 2 layers of paint, this is what the table looks like. So you can still see some of the mahogany wood, you can still see some of the paint chips and the scuffs. This is a very light paint, so I am going to do another layer, and then right after I'm going to use the brush technique, because as I said before, I do want that nice touch that the brush leaves behind. And finally, after a 3rd coat of paint, the table is covered. All those blemishes that you could see before, now you cannot see them. So now I'm going to use the white matte on all the beautiful detail that this table has. On the legs, I used a really small paintbrush for all the details that I would paint in white. So when you're painting the trims, try not to soak your brush where it's dripping, because then it's going to get everywhere. It's going to get on your finished work that you have already accomplished, and that really sucks to redo something that you have already done. So don't soak the brush. So I'll just be painting the ball that the claw is holding. So the two sides in the front and then in the back. So finally, a table that was left in the rain, that the claws were cut off, that it was just so beat up, has come back to life. Tons of TLC. Really hope this helped. Please don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to